Hey everyone, the Skyblock update just dropped yesterday, completely redesigning the Nether, but they also changed how talisman reforging works, and a lot of people have been very confused as to how the new system works, how they can reforge their talismans to get really good stats. So in this video I'm going to cover exactly how to reforge your talismans, which ones are the best, and which ones are really good, or I highly recommend, for specific classes such as Berserker, Tank, and Mage. So yeah, let's get straight on with today's guide. So how we want to start off is you're going to want to go from your island to the main hub area, right? And once you're here, you want to turn this way, and you want to go into this sort of yellow sandstone building. And right at the entrance, you're going to see Maxwell. So you can talk to him, and it's going to put you with a bunch of stuff right here. So these are different classes, and all of these classes give you different perks. So the Commando is the best one when it comes to plain damage, because it gives the most crit damage and the most strength out of all of them. And then a bit more defense, it gives some health, so it's not too bad. So that's Berserker sort of set, which I personally really like, because just dealing more damage is really good. Inspired is one which is great for mages, because it gives a lot of intelligence and then some damage, some health, but it's not anything like too special. Then you have the Prepared, which is more for a tank, and yeah, that's pretty much all of the good ones, I'd say. And then any of the other ones are just kind of pointless, really. So another thing that's really important when we're going to be looking at our reforging is something called magical power. And what magical power is every single talisman you have has a specific value of magical power. So for example, common talismans will be 2 magical power, rare talismans will be 5, uncommon uncommon are 5, rare would be 8, and epic would be 12, and so on and so forth. But what you really want to have is you want to unlock more sort of accessory bag slots. So there's 3 ways to do that. The first is by going over into the town hall and talking to Elizabeth, who gives you different account and profile upgrades, and you're going to want to go over to here and upgrade the accessory bag. It's a free upgrade. Every upgrade takes a few in real life days, and it gives you 2 extra slots, which is nice to have. The second upgrade a lot of people might be familiar is, if we go back to our island, is by having redstone minions. So basically they will mine redstone, then you collect it, and when you go over into your collections, into your redstone collection, it will unlock new accessory bag perks. So that one gives a small accessory bag upgrade, then you get the medium accessory bag upgrade at 5,000 redstone, then you get the large one at 50,000 redstone, and then every next tier gives you even more space in your accessory bag, which is really, really helpful. It's like around 3 to 5 slots each, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that one's really, really helpful, so that's why I have a lot of redstone minions. But then there's a new way to increase the amount of slots you can have for your talismans, which is by going over to the building again with Maxwell. Instead of talking to Maxwell, you can turn here and you can talk to Jacobus, who can upgrade your accessory bag and give you another 2 slots for 1.5 million coins, which, I mean, it's really expensive, but if you have the money and you need the accessory bag space, then go ahead. It could be helpful, but honestly I don't really recommend this. I'd recommend doing redstone mining, just getting your minions down, and also upgrading through Elizabeth, because it's just better, it's cheaper. But yeah, so that's how you can get more slots. More slots, you just get more talismans that you could buy from the auction house, and those you put into your slots, and that gives you more magic power, which in turn gives you more damage or more just stats overall. Alright, so how you'd like to reforge your accessory bag is you'd go over to the bazaar, and get some power stones if you don't have them already. If you already have power stones, then you can skip this part out. But usually you would go over to the bazaar and you'd buy 9 of these power stones. So once you got your specific power stones, which I'll get into which ones are the best in just a minute, then you will go over this way to Maxwell again. And once you click on him, you're going to click the learn power from stones, and you're going to insert the 9 of the same power stone here. And once you put in the 9 stones, then you sort of get the stats depending on the stone. So for example, if you get a beating heart, let's say if you got 9 beating hearts, then it would give you strength, intelligence and crit damage depending on how much magic power you have. And every single one has like different stats. But yeah, that would be how you'd like to reforge them. So now we're gonna head over to the bazaar and we're gonna take a look at the different power stones which you can use to reforge your accessory bag to get the best perks that best suit your sort of gameplay. So if we go over to the bazaar and go into the oddities category and go to power stones, you're going to see all of the different options we have for reforging our accessory bag. So let's start off with the luxurious ball. This one in specific, so we're going to talk about how they give stats at 250 magical power. So this one at 250 magical power gives you 231 crit damage, which is really good. It's pretty solid when you think about how much damage that actually is, because it's really strong, really good for berserkers in specific, because just the damage is amazing with 231 crit damage. And then you also get a unique power bonus, which is +5 bonus attack speed, so it makes your attacks a bit quicker, so that's really nice. Highly recommend it for berserkers, but the only downside I'd say is it costs 4 million per stone and you need 9 stones. So if we were to pull up a calculator and do 4 times 9, that's 36, so that's 36, it would be like 36 million coins just to get the silky for your accessory bag, which I don't really think is that great unless you do have the money. The next stone we're going to look at is rock candy. This one gives 140 health, 104 defense, no, 146 health, 104 defense and 12 speed at 250 magical power, which is really good. This is absolutely amazing for tanks, and the combat skill requirement is only 15 like the previous one. You also only need combat 15 to apply this one. So it's absolutely amazing if you're playing tank. You also get an extra 5 speed for the unique power bonus, which is amazing. So if you're able to apply that at Maxwell to your accessory bag, it's really good. It's also surprisingly cheap compared to the other ones, being only at this point in time 287,000 coins per. So if you times that by 9, that will be about, I don't know, 2.6 mil, something like that. So that's not awful, it's pretty good for tanks, especially earlier game. Then we're going to move on to the Endstone Shulker. Here you get 162 health, 93 defense and 35 intelligence as base stats at 250 magic power, which is great. It's really good. But what makes this even better is the unique power bonus, where it gives you an additional 100 health and 50 defense, making you just an absolute walking unit. Just defense is really good for tanks. Like, tanks just focus with defense, so being able to get about 140 more defense is absolutely crazy. The hard rock candy gives a bit more health, I think, but overall this one's just far better if you can get, like, if you do have the money to afford it. The only downside to this one being it's 1 million per stone, so that would mean it would be around 9 million to max it out, whereas the other one was like 2.6 million. But if you do have the money, I highly recommend it. It's great for tanks. If you want to just be tankier, if you want to survive longer, especially in dungeons or doing slayers, then I highly recommend this one. The only difference between this one and the Hard Rock Candy is this one requires combat skill level 20, which is a bit more difficult to do, but it's really not that hard, especially since most players already have more or less that combat. But if you don't, I recommend getting it when you get the money to afford it. Next up is the Obsidian Tablet. This one is a lot more of a well-rounded sort of stone, so it gives more stats just of all type instead of focusing one stat in specific, making it like a specific class. It's more if you're just trying to upgrade all of them at once, just gradually. So at 250 magical power, we would get 55 health, 39 defense, 9 speed, 39 strength, 59 intelligence, 16 crit chance, which is really good, and 39 crit damage, which is really balanced, and I think is really good to have if you don't have a specific attribute that you want to boost in specific. So if you're not going for just damage, or if you're not trying to just upgrade your defense and health, then I highly recommend this one, though it is quite expensive at 1.79 million coins per, making it around 16-17 million coins to be able to reforge it. Although you could buy order it, making it like a million, like, I don't know, 800,000 coins cheaper, which is good. But then with the unique power bonus, you'd also get 150 health and 40 strength, with the only requirements being combat 20, which is also really good. I recommend this one. Personally, I think the Endstone Shulker is better. It has just more value, because I don't really think that many people want just to balance out all of these stats, but rather focus one or two in specific, and then upgrade the others by other means. Alright, so the next power stone we're going to look at is Dark Orb. This used to be one of the best reforged stones you could get because of the shaded reforge. It gave the best crit damage and crit strength for common 2 epic talismans, and it was really good. But now it only gives 6 speed, 46 strength, and 176 crit damage at 250 magical power, which I need to say isn't really that great when you look at the compared price, because despite the unique power bonus, which is 3 attack speed and 3 ferocity, which is quite nice to have, it's really expensive at 5.5 million coins, and then only being around 5 million coins at a buy offer. It's really expensive compared to the Luxurious Spool, which gives more or less the same amount of damage, maybe a tiny bit more, I'm not too sure actually. Yeah, I think the Luxurious Spool might give equal, slightly more damage actually than the Dark Orb, which is kind of sad because the Dark Orb is like, how much is that? About 1 million coins more expensive, and also requiring higher combat than the Luxurious Spool, which kind of sucks, because the Dark Orb then would cost you 45 mil just in Dark Orbs, if not a bit more, just to be able to get the shaded on your accessory bag, which isn't even that good compared to the other ones. So don't really recommend it. I think it's a bit of a scam, but hey, if you don't believe me, if you want to try it out for yourself and you have the money to do it, then go ahead, nobody's stopping you, but honestly I don't really recommend this one. Yeah. Moving on, we have the Furball. This one's alright, I suppose. It's not terrible, but it's a bit more of one that would focus more on bonus attack speed and just a bit more speed rather than damage. It does give 81 crit damage, 69 strength, which is alright, I guess. It's not terrible, but it also gives 12 speed and 17 bonus attack speed, which is really good because speed and attack speed are something that aren't as easy to upgrade as strength and crit damage, which is nice to have. And then the unique power bonus, 15 strength, 15 extra crit damage. Can't really complain about that. But looking at the prices, you have basically 5 million insta buy or a 3.9 million buy offer. It's not really that worth it in my opinion, unless you can't get bonus attack speed. But if you're someone who uses, for example, a livid dagger like me, then you're already gonna have 100 attack speed, which is the cap. So yeah, kind of pointless for people running with livid, but if you really want to get higher attack speed, then this is probably one of the best ways to do that I know of. If there's any better ones, just let me know down in the comments. So yeah, Furball not really worth it. Same with the Dark Orb, they kind of just feel a bit more like a scam. Next up, the Endermonical. This is just something, just wow. 347 intelligence at 250 magical power. That's really good, because if you're running mage and you don't have enough intelligence, let's say you're only running with 600 intelligence or 600 mana, it's not really that good. Whereas having an extra 347 is just crazy, like just so much more mana. It's really good. Having intelligence is really good in Skyblock. You really want to have it if you're playing mage or someone who uses mana consuming abilities. So this is definitely a really good one, and it would only cost you around 650 per buy offer, or you could buy offer, 650 insta buy, or you could buy offer for 410,000, which is pretty good. It's a bit of a difference, so I guess you could also kind of flip it, but it's pretty good in my opinion, because the price is quite low, meaning it would only take about 2.8 mil coins, something like that, just to max it out, which isn't really bad when you think about it. Wait, how much would that be actually? If you were to buy offer it, that would be 36 million coins if you buy offer, and then around 54 million if you don't buy offer, if you insta buy it at this point in time, which is alright. It's not bad at all. So highly recommend it, especially for mages who don't have enough mana, or if you just need intelligence in general, then definitely the way to go. Alright, the next reforge zone we're going to look at, the Acacia Birdhouse. This one feels kind of pointless to me, because you get 16 health, which is pretty solid, I guess. Then you have 174 strength and 64 crit damage, which is pretty good, but then again, that's only about plus 210 damage compared to, let's say, this, so that would be like 21 sort of like percent better. So the Luxurious Wool is probably better than the Acacia Birdhouse, even though this one does also grant Ferocity, which is really good, and happens to be quite a bit cheaper, with only costing you 1.6 million in a buy offer, in an insta buy, or a 1.37 million coins from a buy offer, which is really good. It's one of the cheaper damage ones, but it's probably not the best if you have the money. If you don't really have the money, then maybe this one, but I wouldn't highly recommend it that much. But Combat 20, that's not really too difficult to get, so once again, it's solid, but we can do better. Alright, next up is probably one of my favourite reforges, the Beating Heart, because you will get 104 strength at 250 magical power, you get 35 intelligence, which is a nice little bonus, and then 110 crit damage, which is really good. It's really good, because that's like 208%, so it's slightly weaker maybe than the Acacia Birdhouse, but the extra intelligence is really nice, And when you look at the price point, the Acacia Birdhouse was going for about 1.6 mil, and this one's only going for about 857,000 coins per. When you look at Instabuy, which is quite drastic. Like, the Acacia Birdhouse is like 2 times the price of this for only like 3% upgrade, which I don't really think is worth it. So the Beating Heart, it's probably one of the cheaper ones you can get so far, and it's pretty solid. I personally recommend this one. If I was going to get any, I'd probably get this one, since I personally am not that rich, so I'd just get this one. It's really good. It's really nice to have it. Alright, moving on, we have the Mantra. I think I said that wrong. This one is probably one of the highest damage ones you can get so far, but it's 116 strength and 116 crit damage, and then plus 25 of each with the unique power bonus. But it costs 2.1 mil per stone, so it's really not that great. I really don't recommend it because it's extremely expensive, and absolutely no one's selling it, so you can't even buy instantly. And also it requires combat level 30, which is a bit more difficult to get. I don't feel like that many people do have it, and if you do have it and you do have the money to spend, then go ahead. It's really good for combat, but if you're more of an early to mid-game player, then I don't really recommend this one that much. Alright, next up, Magma Urchin. This one's alright, I guess, because it gives you 231% more, okay? So it gives you 46 strength and 185 crit damage at 250 magical power, which is pretty good. I mean, it's really solid for damage, but then again, the price point is really drastic because the sell instantly the buy offer 5 million per, and it's really expensive. But I mean, you do also get the extra 15 bonus attack speed with the unique power bonus, which is good. It's good to have, but honestly, it's really expensive. It would cost you 45 million coins to get this one. But I don't feel like it's that worth it unless you have the money. So if you have the money, keep this one in mind, but if you don't, then honestly just Beating Heart or Rock Candy I'd recommend. Alright, next up. The Horns of Torment is an interesting one because this is really similar to the Endermonicle, but this one also grants 53 strength at the cost of about, how much mana is that? About 80 less intelligence, which is a solid trade-off, I guess, because the only difference between these two, apart from the price, honestly, this one, the Horns of Torment, just buy off it. Just don't even try and buy it instantly because it's just pointless. It's absolutely not worth it, because if you try to buy it instantly, it will come out nearly twice as expensive as it would if you were just to buy off it. So 6.9 million per just for some extra damage at the cost of mana compared to the Endermonicle. Not worth it, honestly. I really feel like this isn't such a good one. You should definitely pass off getting this one. Alright. Another reforged stone is the Precious Pearl. This one. Oh my. Is this an absolute scam? This is really just the biggest scam of them all when it comes to the reforged stones, because it only gives you 130 health and 139 defense, alright? At 250 magical power. And look at the price point. Let's say 6,675,000 in a buy offer right now. Let's compare that to Rock Candy. No, not Rock Candy. Let's compare that to the Endstone Shulkera for a minute. it will give us, this one gives us 262 health and 143 defense if you combine it with the unique power bonus, right? So that's quite a big difference, because that's more defense, it's a lot more health, and the instant shulker is, look at this, 400,000 buy offer, 6.6 million buy offer, and this one it's nearly 15 times as expensive, which is an absolute scam. Just, even if you do have the money, just don't get this one, it's worthless. Anyway, next up we have the eccentric painting. These ones are getting quite a lot more expensive, but the eccentric painting gives you negative 23 strength, negative 23 crit damage, so you're gonna deal less strength, but you'll be dealing you'll get another 417 intelligence, which is really good for mages, I suppose, because if you really lack intelligence, then you and I mean that as a statistic, not actually, but if you really need more intelligence as a stat, then this one's really good for that if you have a lot of money to burn. I'd still personally recommend going for the monocle because it's just a bit better, because it gives power damage. But really, this one's just the slightly better version of the monocle at a far higher cost, being about, how much would that be? That would be nearly 30 times as expensive, which is just really stupid when you think about it. But honestly, I don't think I can recommend this one. I mean, +5 ability damage, it's not too bad, and a lot of intelligence, but it's extremely expensive, so I don't really recommend this one. Alright, here's one of, probably in my opinion, one of the best reforged stones you can get, which would be the Hazmat Enderman. Giving you pretty much every single stat. It gives you 65 health, 46 defense, 6 speed, 46 strength, 69 intelligence, 46 crit damage, and 7 attack speed, and then the unique power bonus giving you an extra 100 defense and 50 strength, which isn't really too bad. But it does require combat 30, and the price point is between 4 million and 3.6 million. So again, it's quite expensive. It would cost you around 36 million coins, somewhere around that, to be able to get that reforge onto your accessory bag. But yeah, so the eccentric painting and the Hazmat Enderman require combat 30. The precious pearl requires combat 25, but as I said, it's quite a bit of a scam. And yeah, if you want to check them for yourselves, you can just go into the bazaar, you can hover over them, and it does show that at magic power it gives this much, the unique power bonus, and also the requirements. So you can always check those at your own time. But yeah, Vitamin Death is an interesting reforged stone, giving just one stat, and that being health. It gives you 324 health, and then a 200 extra health unique power bonus, which is good, I guess, because if you really need health, then this one's alright, but at the same time, it is quite expensive at like 1.6 million coins, and you can buy instantly for 3.1 million, which is kind of expensive, because I don't really see why people would need just plain health, but if you really need it, then it's an option. But personally, don't really recommend it, don't feel like it's that worth it. And also it requires combat 30, which isn't that great. Alright, last but not least, we have the Scorched Bucks. These give 81 strength, 93 crit damage, and 17 bonus attack speed at 250 magical power, which is really, like, it's solid. It's solid, I have to say, because the damage itself isn't that great because we've seen better options for cheaper. But the 17 bonus attack speed is really good. I think that's what makes this even in the slightest like worth buying. And then the +7 ferocity from the unique power bonus is good to have. But it does cost between 1.8 million coins and 10 million coins, making it extremely expensive and just not really worth buying, in my honest opinion. So yeah, I mean, if you have the money and you just need attack speed, then this one's an alright option. But honestly, I'd just say go for probably something like Hard Rock Candy or the Endstone Shulker, the Beating Heart. Yeah, some of those. Alright, so in conclusion, the Mantra is the best, giving you an extra 232% more damage. In second, you would have the Magma Urchin, which would give you 231, so only being 1% worse, and giving you extra attack speed would be the Magma Urchin, if you don't count the unique power bonus. If you do count the unique power bonus, the Mantra would be better by 51%. So again, it's not too bad, but it's not that great. But the only problem being these two, which would be quote unquote the best ones, no one's selling them, meaning you can't just buy them from the bazaar, and you'd actually have to grind out to get these two, which I'm actually not too sure even how to get. So if anyone knows, let me know in the comments or something. So the ones that are actually accessible, if you don't want to grind, if you just want to buy them from the bazaar, the best one that you can buy at this point in time would be the Luxurious Spore, giving you 231 crit damage and 5 bonus attack speed. Then the best ones for tank would have to be the Endstone Shulker, giving an awful lot of defense and a bunch of health and some intelligence, which is really good. I highly recommend this one. It's quite cheap compared to some of them, and it's really nice to have. Another good tank option would be to use Rock Candy, because it's about 500,000 to 800,000 cheaper than the Endstone Shulker, and it gives just a tiny bit less defense, a bit less health, but it does give more speed and is just really good if you're only just starting out as a tank, and if you don't have that much money to play around with, then the Rock Candy is definitely a really good option to bear in mind if you're planning to play tank. If you're planning to play mage, then I would highly recommend getting the Ender Monocle, because it's a lot more accessible to early and mid-game players, giving 347 intelligence, which is really good, and then 3 extra ability damage at the cost of around 550,000 coins, which is really good. It's quite cheap, and the intelligence really helps. It adds a lot of mana, which is really good. But if you are later into the game, I would highly recommend aiming towards getting the Eccentric Painting, which gives 70 more intelligence than the Ender Monocle, at the cost of 23 strength and 23 crit damage, but it does give 5 ability damage instead of 3. But then another drawback being it takes combat 25, which is 5 levels more than than the Ender Monocle takes, which isn't that great. But if you're really determined to play mage, then probably go for this one, but I don't really recommend it unless you're a really determined mage. So yeah, and then if you're looking for an overall to sort of upgrade all of your stats at once, or like most of your stats at once, I'd have to recommend the Hazmat Enderman, because it gives a lot of them at pretty solid stats, so like about nearly 50 strength, nearly 50 crit damage, a lot of intelligence, some speed, some bonus attack speed. It's pretty solid, and then it also gives you more strength and defense with the unique power bonus, which is really good. Last but not least though, if you're a newer player, if you're an early to mid game sort of player and you don't really have that much money, I would highly recommend getting the beating heart because it gives quite a bit of damage. It will give you a total of 208% more damage in some mana, making it really viable because it's one of the cheaper ones you can get, apart from, for example, the rock candy, which is like a cheaper version of the Ensign Shilka. So yeah, that's my honest thoughts. Get whichever ones you like, honestly, apart from the Precious Pearl, that was terrible. But with that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider leaving a like, maybe subscribe. It'd be really appreciated. And yeah, hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.